Hello, my name is Sarah, and today I want to share my story. This isn't just about the journey of a young girl from a small village, but a testament to how dreams, perseverance, and a little help along the way can change lives. From walking barefoot to school to becoming a doctor, my life has been a roller coaster of challenges and triumphs. Over the next 2 hours, I'll share the details of my journey, the people who helped shape my path, and the lessons I learned along the way. Let's begin where it all started in the small, vibrant village of Kingston, where every day brought new struggles but also glimpses of hope. My life wasn't just about surviving, it was about finding purpose amid hardship, creating opportunities where none existed, and dreaming big despite my circumstances. I invite you to walk with me through every twist and turn of my story, as I recount the moments that defined my life and the sacrifices that made my success possible. So, sit back and let my journey unfold before you. I was born in Kingston, a small village where lush greenery masked the struggles of daily life. My family, my father, a farmer, and my mother, who sold vegetables, worked tirelessly to provide for us. Our days were filled with endless toil, and nights often came with the worry of whether we'd have enough to eat the next day. Despite these challenges, there was something within me that set me apart, a dream, as fragile as it seemed, to become a doctor. This dream wasn't born from luxury or idle fantasy. It was rooted in a profound moment of inspiration, the day my younger brother fell gravely ill. I remember sitting by his bedside, watching helplessly as he struggled to breathe. Just when all hope seemed lost, a kind doctor from the nearby town arrived. With steady hands and a calm voice, he treated my brother and saved his life. That day, I saw more than a man with a medical bag. I saw a savior, a beacon of hope. From that moment, I vowed to be that person for others someday. However, dreaming in a place like Kingston was not easy. Every time I expressed my ambition, I'd be met with words of caution. My father would gently remind me of the reality we faced. Sarah, becoming a doctor is a long, expensive journey. It's not something people like us can afford. But even as a child, I held on to a belief that seemed larger than myself. Where there's a will, there's a way. Our small house, built of wood and clay, was both a shelter and a constant reminder of our struggles. Rainy seasons meant leaks that turned our home into a maze of buckets and pots. My mother, with hands calloused from years of labor, would often stay up late, sewing torn clothes by candlelight. My father, exhausted from tilling the land, never let a day pass without offering words of encouragement. Dreams are important, Sarah, but they must be followed by hard work. Despite these hardships, I found moments of joy and motivation. Kingston, with its vibrant greenery and the occasional symphony of chirping birds, provided a backdrop of serenity that fueled my imagination. As a child, I often played by the riverbank, pretending to mix potions from mud and leaves, envisioning myself as a healer. Little did I know that these innocent games were the seeds of a much bigger aspiration. The dream to heal, to make a difference, and to rise above the circumstances of my birth was one I carried with me, like a torch, even on the darkest days. My dream wasn't born in luxury or privilege. It emerged in one of the most frightening and life-changing moments of my childhood. My little brother had fallen gravely ill, his fever soaring, his breaths shallow and labored. Our village lacked proper medical care, and my family was gripped by fear and helplessness. Just when hope seemed lost, a doctor from a nearby town arrived. I watched him work with calm precision, his kind demeanor reassuring my frantic parents. Within hours, my brother's condition stabilized, and for the first time in days, we could breathe again. That moment left an indelible mark on me. It wasn't just relief that I felt, It was awe. I wanted to be that person, a source of comfort and healing for others. As I sat by my brother's bed that evening, I whispered to myself, one day, I'll be a doctor. But dreams in Kingston often faced harsh realities. My father, a pragmatic man, gently reminded me, Sarah, becoming a doctor is a long, expensive journey. It's not something we can afford. His words were not meant to discourage me but to prepare me for the uphill battle that lay ahead. Despite the daunting obstacles, I clung to my dream. I refused to let our financial struggles extinguish my determination. If there's a will, there's a way, I repeated to myself, like a mantra. Over the years, those words became my guiding light. Whenever I felt overwhelmed or unsure, I returned to that moment of inspiration, drawing strength from the memory of the doctor who had saved my brother. His actions had set me on a path I was determined to follow, no matter how difficult it would be. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight kissed the fields, I'd start my hour-long walk to school. This journey wasn't just a commute, it was a test of endurance and determination. With no shoes to shield my feet from the jagged stones and no proper bag to protect my books from the elements, I pressed forward. The muddy paths clung to my legs, and the blazing sun often drained my energy, but I refused to let these challenges deter me. I'd walk past towering trees and grazing cows, sometimes finding solace in the cheerful songs of the birds perched above. The road was long and lonely, but reaching school felt like stepping into a different world, a world where possibilities seemed within reach. My teacher, Miss Lila, was more than a mentor, she was a guiding light. Her warm smile and gentle encouragement provided a reprieve from the hardships I faced. She once said to me, Sarah, you can achieve anything if you work hard and believe in yourself. These words became my shield against self-doubt. However, life at school was far from easy. My classmates carried shiny new bags and colorful books, while I made do with borrowed pages and a pencil worn down to a nub. Despite these disparities, I found joy in learning. The classroom was my sanctuary, a place where the world's possibilities opened up to me, and for a few hours each day, I felt unburdened by my circumstances. Miss Lila often noticed my struggles and quietly supported me by providing extra papers or explaining concepts in simpler terms after class. It was during one of these moments that I realized how much she believed in me. Sarah, she said one evening as she handed me a stack of notes, don't let anything stand in the way of your dreams. I see something special in you. Her belief became a seed that took root deep within me, giving me the strength to keep pushing forward even when the road seemed insurmountable. You can achieve anything if you work hard, she'd tell me. These words were like an anchor, steadying me through the turbulent sea of inadequacy and self-doubt. My classmates carried colorful books with gleaming covers and new supplies that seemed to reflect their privilege, while I held on to borrowed papers, scribbled notes, and a pencil almost too short to use. I envied them at times, but I never let my envy cloud my determination. Instead, I focused on what I could do with what I had. Every day at school was a small battle. I would look at their polished tools and remind myself that it wasn't the tools that made a student, it was the drive and the hunger for knowledge. My classmates might have had shiny backpacks and colorful books, but I knew that true learning came from within. I carried borrowed papers, half-used notebooks, and a stub of a pencil that I sharpened carefully to make it last. These small tools became my allies, helping me etch my path forward. One day, during a class discussion, our teacher posed a challenging question about the science behind photosynthesis. While many students hesitated, I raised my hand and explained the process with clarity and confidence. For a moment, the classroom fell silent, and then Miss Lila clapped. "Excellent explanation, Sarah," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with pride. That moment solidified my belief that my resolve and hard work could make up for anything I lacked materially. As I walked home that day, I thought about how often I had felt out of place, but now I understood. The fire within me was what truly mattered. Each day's small battles became stepping stones, fueling my determination to carve out a brighter future not just for myself, but for everyone who believed in me. Those battles taught me resilience, transforming my hardships into strength. Miss Lila would often remind me, "Sarah, remember, it's not about what you have but what you do with it. Keep working hard." Her words became my mantra. I repeated them during long walks home when my feet ached, during nights when I studied by the dim light of an old kerosene lamp, and even during moments when I felt like giving up. Her belief in me planted a seed of confidence that slowly grew, becoming my foundation. Over time, I realized that my circumstances, while challenging, were not insurmountable. They were stepping stones, lessons that taught me resilience, gratitude, and the value of perseverance. Each struggle became a story to tell, a memory that fueled my journey towards something greater. My resolve to succeed wasn't just for me, it was for everyone who believed in me, and for the better life I dreamed of creating for my family. Life began to change when Amina joined our class. She was kind, generous, and radiated a warmth that immediately drew me in. Before her arrival, my school days were often solitary, marked by quiet perseverance and occasional moments of doubt. But Amina's presence changed everything. She quickly became my first true friend, someone who not only noticed my struggles but actively sought to ease them. She shared her supplies with me, offering pencils and paper without hesitation. Her acts of kindness made me feel valued and less alone. One day, as we sat together under the large acacia tree in the schoolyard, Amina leaned closer and said, "Sarah, there's a science competition in the city next month. The winner gets a scholarship. Let's enter it together." My initial reaction was disbelief. The thought of competing in a city-wide event felt overwhelming. But Amina's excitement was infectious. "We can do this," she assured me. Together, we brainstormed ideas and eventually settled on a project about clean water. In our village, access to clean drinking water was a constant challenge, so the topic felt deeply personal. We spent weeks researching, crafting a detailed poster, and rehearsing our presentation. Amina's optimism balanced my nerves, and her unwavering belief in our project kept me motivated. The day of the competition was both thrilling and nerve-wracking. The city was a whirlwind of activity, far removed from the quiet familiarity of Kingston. Standing in front of the judges, my hands trembled as I explained the importance of clean water and how it could save lives. To my astonishment, the judges were impressed, not just by our content but by the passion behind our words. When they announced that I had won the scholarship, I felt an overwhelming mix of joy and disbelief. That moment was more than just a victory, it was a glimpse of what was possible. Amina's friendship and belief in me had unlocked a door I never thought I could open. The day of the competition was nerve-wracking. My heart raced as I stood in front of the judges, explaining our project on clean water. My voice wavered at first, but as I spoke about the importance of clean drinking water in villages like mine, I felt a surge of confidence. The judges listened intently, nodding along as I shared the stories from Kingston of children falling ill because of contaminated water and the simple solutions that could save lives. When they announced the winners, time seemed to slow. My name echoed through the hall, and for a moment, I stood frozen, unable to comprehend what had just happened. The audience clapped, and Amina squeezed my hand, whispering, "You did it, Sarah." Tears filled my eyes as I stepped forward to accept the scholarship. It wasn't just a piece of paper, it was a lifeline, a bridge to a future I had only dared to dream about. That moment marked a turning point in my life. Winning the scholarship wasn't just a personal victory, it was a validation of all the late nights spent studying, the sacrifices my family had made, and the unwavering belief that hard work could overcome even the most daunting obstacles. It was the first sign that my dreams were truly within reach, and it gave me the courage to continue pursuing them with all my heart. At home, my sister, also named Amina, made an incredible sacrifice. One evening, she approached me with a determined expression. "Sarah," she said softly, "I've made a decision. I'll stop going to school so you can continue." Her words hit me like a wave. "But Amina, you love school as much as I do," I protested, my voice trembling. She smiled gently, her eyes filled with a wisdom far beyond her years. "Yes, I do. But our family can't afford both of us going to school, and you have something special, Sarah. You have a chance to make a real difference." True to her word, Amina took a job at a local shop, working long hours under difficult conditions to earn a modest wage. Her earnings became the lifeline of my education, allowing me to buy much-needed books, afford school supplies, and even have a small meal during lunch breaks. These seemingly small contributions were monumental to me, as they bridged the gap between what we had and what I needed to keep moving forward. Each evening, Amina returned home exhausted, her hands blistered from carrying heavy loads, yet her face carried a determined smile. I often stayed up late to help her unwind, listening to her recount stories from the shop. Despite the challenges, she never complained. Her support was unyielding, and her sacrifices spoke volumes about the love she had for me. Watching her endure so much while continuing to encourage me was both inspiring and heartbreaking. There were nights when I would silently cry, overwhelmed by guilt and gratitude. Why should my dreams cost her so much? I often wondered. But Amina always reassured me. "Sarah," she would say, "your education is our family's hope. When you succeed, we all succeed." Her words became my fuel. They reminded me that my journey wasn't just mine alone, it was intertwined with hers, with my family's, and with everyone who believed in me. I vowed to make her sacrifices worthwhile, carrying her dreams alongside my own as I walked the path to becoming a doctor. Her selflessness was a constant reminder that my success wasn't just for me, it was for her, for my family, and for everyone who had ever believed in me. I promised myself that I would make her sacrifice worthwhile, that I would honor her dreams as well as mine. Each day, I worked harder, fueled by the knowledge that I carried not just my own hopes, but hers as well. Amina's love and sacrifice became my strength, the foundation on which I built my determination to succeed. With the scholarship funds, I transferred to a better school in the town. The transition was overwhelming at first. The hallways were vast, the classrooms filled with equipment I'd never seen before, and the students wore uniforms that were spotless and neatly pressed, a stark contrast to my faded hand-me-down clothes. My classmates often discussed vacations, tutors, and extracurricular activities I couldn't fathom affording. It was intimidating to sit among peers who seemed so different from me, their confidence as polished as their shiny new school bags. Despite the initial culture shock, I quickly realized that their privilege only fueled my determination to prove myself. I reminded myself why I was there, not to compare, but to learn. I focused on my studies with a singular purpose, often staying late in the library to review lessons and complete assignments. I also sought help from teachers who noticed my eagerness and offered guidance. Their support reminded me that hard work could level any playing field. One memorable incident occurred during a group science project. My classmates initially underestimated me, assuming I wouldn't contribute much. But as we worked together, my ideas and dedication began to shine through. By the end of the project, their attitudes had shifted, and one of them even said, "Sarah, I don't know how we would have done this without you." Moments like these reinforced my belief that determination and effort could overcome even the widest gaps in experience or resources. The more I engaged with my studies and peers, the more I grew not just academically, but personally. My confidence blossomed as I learned to carry myself with poise, speak up when I had ideas, and approach challenges with determination. One moment stands out vividly. During a class discussion, I presented a complex solution to a biology problem. My classmates, who had initially doubted my capabilities, were stunned. Their applause was a turning point, cementing my belief in my own abilities. I also started participating in school clubs, joining the science team and volunteering at local health workshops. These activities broadened my perspective and gave me a sense of belonging. I discovered the joy of teamwork and the power of shared goals. One particular workshop, where we educated villagers about basic hygiene practices, reminded me of my childhood struggles and solidified my resolve to give back to communities like Kingston. By the end of my first year, I no longer felt like an outsider. Instead, I felt empowered by my journey and unique experiences. I began reflecting on how far I'd come from the long walks to school in my village to presenting my ideas in a classroom filled with confident peers. Each step brought me closer to my dream of becoming a doctor, and each struggle reminded me of the strength I carried within. What truly stood out during this time was the transformation I experienced in how I viewed myself. I wasn't just a student anymore, I was becoming a leader, someone with the potential to inspire others. My participation in various school activities, such as leading a health awareness campaign, further cemented my belief that I could make a meaningful difference. During these campaigns, I worked alongside classmates to teach rural communities about basic health practices and experience that reminded me of the need for accessible medical care in places like my own village. One particularly memorable event was organizing a fundraiser to buy supplies for underprivileged students. It wasn't easy convincing people to contribute, but I persisted, sharing my own story of resilience and determination. By the end of the event, we had collected enough funds to make a significant impact. Moments like these made my dream, once distant and fragile, feel tangible and within my grasp. I realized that my journey wasn't just about becoming a doctor, it was about becoming someone who could uplift and inspire others along the way. High school became the stepping stone to my dream. My relentless dedication earned me a full scholarship to a prestigious college, a moment that brought both relief and excitement. Moving to the city for college was like stepping into an entirely new world, bustling streets, towering buildings, and an overwhelming sense of possibility. I quickly realized, however, that the road ahead would not be easy. Balancing studies and a part-time library job became my routine. The library was my sanctuary, a place where I could earn money while also immersing myself in books that deepened my understanding of medicine. My shifts often ran late into the night, and I would walk back to my small dorm room under the glow of streetlights, exhausted but fulfilled. During these moments, I often thought of my family and the sacrifices they had made to help me reach this point. Their unwavering support fueled my determination to succeed. At college, I found a community of aspiring doctors who shared my passion. We formed study groups, supported each other during challenging exams, and celebrated every small victory. Together, we navigated the intense demands of medical school, the sleepless nights, grueling schedules, and moments of doubt. It was within this group that I met lifelong friends, people who inspired me to push through the toughest times. One unforgettable moment occurred during clinical rotations. I was assigned to a remote area where medical resources were scarce. There, I met a young boy suffering from a severe infection. His family had all but given up hope, but I refused to. Working under the guidance of my supervisor, I helped treat him with the limited tools we had. When his condition improved, the gratitude in his parents' eyes reaffirmed why I had chosen this path. That day, I realized the true power of knowledge and empathy, a power I had dreamed of wielding as a child. This experience solidified my commitment to serving communities like the one I had come from. One moment that stands out vividly during my clinical rotations was when I met a young boy suffering from a severe infection in a remote area. His family had traveled miles on foot to seek help, their faces etched with worry and despair. When I first saw him, he was weak, his fever dangerously high, and his breathing shallow. The family explained that they had exhausted all other options, having sold their only cow to pay for a failed treatment in a distant town. Their desperation was palpable, and my heart ached as I listened to their story. It was in moments like these that I fully understood the profound responsibility that came with pursuing medicine, to be the person who could offer hope when all seemed lost. With my supervisor's guidance, we worked tirelessly to stabilize the boy. The resources in that remote clinic were scarce. We had no advanced equipment, only basic antibiotics and fluids. I carefully monitored his progress, ensuring he was hydrated and his fever was controlled. Over the next few days, his condition began to improve. Seeing the color return to his cheeks and his energy slowly revive was a moment of pure joy. When the family expressed their gratitude, the mother's eyes filled with tears, and she clasped my hands, saying, "You saved my son. You gave us hope." That moment was transformative for me. I realized that the power of knowledge and empathy could bridge gaps that seemed insurmountable. It was a reminder of why I had chosen this path and a reaffirmation of the dream that had driven me since childhood. This experience deepened my commitment to bringing healthcare to underserved communities and strengthened my resolve to make a difference, no matter the challenges. Years later, when I graduated and became a doctor, I knew exactly where I needed to go: back to Kingston. The moment I stepped off the bus and saw the familiar dusty paths of my village, memories of my childhood flooded back. The joy on my family's faces as they greeted me was unparalleled, especially my sister's. Her eyes glistened with pride and relief as she embraced me tightly. "We did it," I whispered, tears streaming down both our cheeks. Her sacrifice, unwavering support, and belief in me had been the cornerstone of my journey. My return wasn't just a homecoming, it was a mission. I opened a small clinic at the heart of Kingston, determined to serve the community that had shaped me. Each patient I treated, every child I comforted, felt like a piece of my dream coming to life. Seeing the lines of people who once had no access to proper medical care filled me with a profound sense of purpose. I wasn't just treating ailments, I was reigniting hope. The smiles, gratitude, and trust of my patients reminded me that all the struggles, sacrifices, and sleepless nights had been worth it. In Kingston, I opened a small clinic at the heart of the village, a place where hope could find a home again. I wanted to be the doctor who was there when no one else was, the person families could turn to without fear of being turned away. Each day brought new challenges: treating illnesses with limited supplies, educating villagers about preventive care, and providing comfort to those in their most vulnerable moments. I often thought of the doctor who inspired my journey, and I strive to emulate his compassion and dedication. Seeing the lives I've touched has been the greatest reward. Children who once struggled with preventable diseases now run through the fields with laughter. Mothers who feared losing their loved ones leave the clinic with smiles of relief. And the elders who often hesitated to seek medical attention now trust me to care for them in their twilight years. Each story, each healed life, has been a testament to the power of perseverance and the unyielding spirit of a community. It's all worth it, every late night of study, every sacrifice my family made, and every tear shed along the way. Looking back, my story isn't just mine. It's a story of every child who dares to dream despite overwhelming odds, every parent who sacrifices without hesitation to provide opportunities for their children, and every teacher who believes in the potential of their students, even when the world around them seems indifferent. My journey is living proof that no dream is too big if you're willing to fight for it, even when the path is steep and filled with obstacles. Each chapter of my life, from walking barefoot to school, to earning a scholarship, to serving my village as a doctor, has been built on a foundation of resilience, kindness, and unwavering support from those around me. It is a story of community, determination, and the transformative power of hope. The lessons I've learned are universal. Perseverance can bridge any gap, compassion can heal unseen wounds, and belief in oneself can unlock doors that seem firmly shut. My story belongs to all of us who dream of a better future and work tirelessly to make it a reality. So here I am, Sarah, the barefoot girl who once walked miles to school, now a doctor making a tangible difference in the lives of others. Each day, I am reminded of the journey that brought me here, a journey filled with trials, triumphs, and the unwavering belief that dreams, no matter how distant, can become reality. My story is far from over, and I am excited for the chapters yet to come, the lives I will touch, the lessons I will learn, and the hope I aim to continue spreading. I share my story not just to reflect on my own path, but to inspire you to chase your dreams with courage and determination. No matter the obstacles you face, remember that every step, every effort, and every moment of perseverance matters. Thank you for listening, and always believe, if I can do it, so can you. I attempted to add a conclusion and a call to action, encouraging viewers to like, share, and subscribe for learning English professionally, but the edit was not successful due to a mismatch in the pattern of the original text. If you'd like, I can manually adjust the conclusion and include the requested call to action. Let me know how you'd like to proceed.